Hey everyone, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. It's been a bit since we recorded. We've been trying to be really active on social media, but it has been a little bit since we actually got around to sitting down and doing a whole podcast.
While you're on that, why don't we just shout out the socials right off the bat? Because we usually do it at the end.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Follow us. It's on TikTok. It's eyes underscore on underscore Leafs. We were posting a lot there. We're really trying to get the TikTok up and running. Instagram, it's eyes. Yeah, no, Instagram's eyes dot on dot Leafs. So we're trying to get those both moving, and we're trying to get those going. We originally when we started the pod, we wanted to actually do Twitter too, but Twitter is just it's not great for promoting content anymore. I've been trying to grow my own Twitter page. It's tough if you don't have a platform before it. So that's kind of dormant. We might get it started. I don't really know if we actually will or not, but look out for our Instagram page especially. I'm gonna try to make some graphics, and I think we're gonna try to start posting like daily Leafs news. Just to keep up and then on TikTok we'll do our videos like we have been doing, and we'll still upload some of those TikToks to Instagram as well, but it's just gonna be we're gonna try to do a little bit more on Instagram just with the pictures and everything and graphics. So yeah, hope you guys have been watching those videos and hope you guys have been enjoying them. I feel bad, Jacob. If you go on our TikTok, Jacob's just like non-existent because he didn't have the login. He didn't have the login. Made some TikToks on his own account. Sent us the videos, asked us to post them, and I think both me and said we're out of the house. And I read the message. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
It did end up on
Yeah.
Instagram. In fairness, I've
It
also
did.
only done one video so far. So
I thought you did too.
did I? Do
No, it was Detroit versus.
Was that the only one?
Yeah, I was supposed to do
Yeah.
the Danford one for the game that Canada got eliminated in, but I
I don't even think we did one for.
we didn't because I was just pissed off after that game, and also he was invisible, and I frankly had nothing to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of game reviews for World Junior.
Yeah, I kind of fell off near the end. It got really busy. I think at least for me, it just got really busy near the end of the World Juniors. I was still watching the games, but it wasn't like enough for me to really do a deep dive analysis on it. So I do apologize if when we start something, we're gonna try to finish it and go all the way through and commit to it. Just didn't end up working out this time. So yeah, just keep looking at our socials. We're gonna try to post as much as possible. I did an injury update the other day, and it was only a 2-minute TikTok, but we're gonna actually deep dive into some of this stuff here. With the podcast, like I said, it's just been tough for us all to be in one place with or to actually be able to sit down and do the pod with all of us. Having family stuff throughout the holidays and everything, but
yeah, this time
we-
was kind of messed up for planning this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we could now that school's coming back soon, me and Jake will be in the same spot more often. Me and Jacob actually planned to go play hockey during the winter break. Didn't end up working out. Just
Yeah.
very busy for the both of us.
Next week.
Next week. I'll bring my skates next week.
all
But
we
yeah,
do.
we're gonna try to. Yeah, we're gonna.
Next
I
week.
think we're also gonna try to start renting some podcast booth space at our school. Hopefully, we find a way to get Seb up and running on some sort of Zoom, and then me and Jacob could be in the same spot. And we're there's some stuff that we're trying to do. We'll see if it ends up working out. It was really busy, but yeah, we're happy to be back. So let's actually get into the topics. I mean, we missed a lot with the Olympic roster. We're not really talking about Olympic stuff. I don't have anything lined up. I just think it's been we were just kind of late to the party, and I think everyone's kind of spoken on, and the discourse has already been kind of talked out, and I don't know how much more there actually is to say on it. So we're gonna start with the Leafs like usual. Last night, we're recording the night after the Leafs beat Florida 4-1. I think arguably their best game this season. I think they were most intense, but completely dominant through 40. And I think they sat back a little bit, just tried to absorb pressure in the third, and it didn't. I don't think they played great in the third, but I don't know. That's just they're up 3-0. They're not trying to kind of take any risks and allowed Florida to get back in the game a little. Not even get back in the game. I mean, they only scored once, but I think Florida had a couple of opportunities. What did you guys think of the game last night?
Jacob, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, like you said, they were dominant. I thought they played a really good game. One of their best of the season so far. And that feels especially good against the Florida Panthers, even if it is a Florida team that's been a little bit probably had like similar struggles to the Leafs this season, except I think the reason for theirs is more to do with injuries. Oh, actually, you know what? The Leafs have had a lot of injuries too, but there's a lot of news on the Leafs too. You know what I mean?
Can I just jump in quickly, Jacob, and
Yeah.
say something? You can get back to your point. Because it just sparked my memory when you were talking about how Florida had similar injuries. I was at the game last night, so I didn't see it like live, but I went on Twitter after the game, and it drives me nuts that the Hockey Night in Canada panel is like, oh, or I think it was Hockey Night. Yeah, it was Hockey Night in Canada. Just like, oh, this is what Florida's going through. These are all their problems. So it's a one-off. It's like the Leafs have been going through the same shit. I just like for once to have some sort of like, it's a Canadian versus an American team. It wasn't like I actually know what it was picked up by TNT, but still, it's a Canadian broadcast. Like the Americans aren't watching it. Like, can we have a little bit of a Leaf focus on it?
Honestly, I don't really understand Sportsnet's purpose in broadcasting the Leafs because they don't advertise them as Leafs broadcasts when they are Leafs broadcasts. Are they not? It's the same panel every time.
They are, yeah.
They do most of the Leafs games during the season.
I mean,
Okay, you know what? I just checked it. I should have checked it before. It was TNT, but I mean, I don't know. Still, like the all media broadcasts do that to us. It's so weird.
Yeah, I know Steve Dangles mentioned this before, like on the SDP, but that Sportsnet has like genuine, not fear, but like they make a thing out of like don't, praise the Leafs too much or don't put too much focus on the Leafs because we don't want to come across as like Leaf centric and everything, or like as Leaf biased, and it's like it's a genuine thing that they like look out for and try to prevent. It's ridiculous to the point where you get great stories throughout the season and they barely focus on it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think TSN has the right idea where they just kind of face it head on. Like I know, like especially during the quiz, I know Jeff O'Neill especially will just say, "Oh, sorry, Leafs fans out there. This is the unpopular answer, but I'm gonna go with whatever's against the Leafs." It's like, okay, that's like you're acknowledging that there's a large Leafs fan base out there, even if you're not technically speaking a pro Leafs broadcast. You know what I mean? Like, at least
I think you're so dead on. Like, I'm not asking for a bias. I'm just like, can we like talk about how they kind of dominated them for 40 minutes when we didn't have Willie either. We didn't have McCabe. Tanev is out for the year. And we're talking about injuries, but like, come on, man. I don't know.
I didn't think Florida played bad by any means either. I think the Leafs just, I don't know. They had it last night. Sorry, they looked ready to play for the first 40, and I think kind of like what you said, Mateo. They held back a little bit in the third, but I think part of that was the Leafs. That third period reminded me a lot of how they played last year in their late third period leads and all that, and how they were really good at just stifling everything. And the one goal Florida gets is off of just a really bad.
That's a bad
misread.
goal by Joseph Woll.
It was a bad read by Woll. But
it's
like,
bad everything.
Yeah.
Quick goalie corner. Quick goalie corner.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can't go out there with one hand and swat the puck like that.
Yeah.
You can't be slow getting back to your post. You can't have the gap on your post when you're sliding back into your post. He did just about everything wrong on that goal, Joseph Woll, and I'm a huge Woll fan, but that was just like I was like I said, I was at the game and I'm like I see the puck going, I'm like, oh,
It was
like
a brain fart.
It's like fuck, man. Like you guys are playing perfect through 40. That can't go in. But
Yeah,
anyways, but yeah, go ahead.
I think they've. I know we're focusing on the Florida game right now, but I think over the last maybe 10-ish games they've played.
Jacob, save that because I have.
Yeah.
I want to get into that, and I'll let you go off on that because I we've missed a lot, so I know we were going to talk about the overall play recently. So I want you to save that thought, hold that, and we'll get to it in like 2 minutes. There's not much more to say about the Florida game. Do you have? I cut you off earlier just because it kind of sparked a thought when you're talking about the panel. Do you have any thoughts on the Florida game there?
No, not really. I mean, they not more than they played a good game and they won. You know, like I thought the Cowan goal was beautiful. I mean, that was a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want? I said, do you have anything else on the Florida game?
Not too much. I mean, I did the game review last night for it on Instagram and TikTok, so I got some of my thoughts out there. But I just thought the physical response is really good tonight. I think, especially after the Lawton on Luosterainen goal, which is ridiculous that wasn't a penalty on Luosterainen. That was the most blatant boarding I've ever seen. But even though there wasn't an exact response in the moment, I don't think a lot of the guys on the team saw it. You saw guys
aside from OEL. I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I don't know why nobody really responded in the moment, but you see guys like Bobby McMahon after kind of go after Marchand, and just the rest of the game they were very physical, and even like Nick Waugh against I don't know how to say this guy's name, Balinskins, I think. Balinski?
Yeah, Balinskins or
They
something
were
like that.
going
Sorry,
at
yeah.
it the whole second period, and that sparked like a solid 5 minutes of like really intense physical play on both sides. That was honestly, it was just a really fun game to watch. Like that was some of the most fun I've had watching the Leafs this year.
That might be some of the most fun I've ever, like, attending that game. It was so fun to see in person because, like, you're just seeing the shit that happens, like, behind the play that you don't get on the TV until they cut back to it. So it's just like, to me, it was really encouraging that we saw a Leafs team that didn't get bullied, that was not slow. I think Carter Verhage said after the game they were quicker than us tonight, and it showed. And I think the Leafs just beat them in transition often, which we haven't been able to say a lot this season, or for a while now. I think you'll have to go back to the early Keefe days before we started, probably early to mid Keefe days when we started talking about how they beat teams in transition. Since Berube's come in, it's been a lot less of a transition game. But I thought they beat them in transition. I thought they outskated them. I thought they were more physical, if not, I'd say about the same physicality, if not a little bit more physical. I like to see McMahon taking runs at guys. I like that when Lawton goes out, they're like, you know what, all right, we don't want Luosterainen, we want Marchand, and I like Domi had that fight against Ekblad. I know it wasn't great, but he still got some shots in. It's just good to see. They do, and that they outlined it. That goes back to the days when Domi was in Montreal. He kind of sucker punched Ekblad, and I think they just hate each other, like you were saying. But now, like, going off this game, like, I mean, Jacob, you're about to say the last 10 stats. Do you guys, and you could go after I ask you this question, do you actually think that they're good again? Or is this kind of like, it's the same thing? They're getting a couple luckier bounces. Maybe some pucks aren't going in that would have went in earlier. Is it just Matthews coming back? We'll talk about Matthews in a bit. But Jacob, I don't know, like, you're about to say something about their last 10, and you go ahead with the stat, and you let me know, like, do you actually think that they're good? They're a good team again or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think they still have flaws, obviously. I don't think they're fully back, I guess. But I think December was a better month for them, and they've had a really strong start to January so far. And what I really hope is that October, November was the outlier here, and not their recent play, because this is a good team. I think we all know, looking at the roster and watching them play when they're on, that's a good team. But what I highlighted if anyone out there listening, go back and you watch the video on Instagram I did for the Detroit game, where I basically just said they lost that game 3-2 in overtime. Basically all I said was they played a really good game, they did really well, but ultimately they lost doing what they've been doing all season, which is not defending the rush well enough and getting hemmed in their zone a little bit too easily. And last night against Florida, there was one play in the first period, I think, where they got hemmed in their zone, and I think Ekman Larson was able to just relieve the pressure at a puck. I think it ended up going to icing. I don't know what my point is with that.
Well, you're talking about how they get pinned easily, right? So
yeah. So I think, like, but you get it out, but you still ice the puck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They're doing better. A lot of that has to do with Auston Matthews' resurgence, and I think that maybe what we're seeing is that kind of lighting a fire under the team. I mean, obviously he's the captain. He's kind of the centerpiece of that team. So when he's on, I think that kind of brings everyone up, especially since he just broke a pretty substantial record.
Yeah. So what you had that stat in their last 10? Do you still have that up? Because that was something I kind of want.
I know in their last 7, they're 5-0-2. They have they're on a 7-game point streak, which is.
I think Myrtle had a longer kind of stretch of hockey with the record out, and it's not perfect hockey. I think we're still seeing some of the old issues at times, but I do think that they're cleaning some. James Myrtle says that. Yeah, go ahead.
5-3-2 in their last 10.
Yeah, and in their last 20, Myrtle says they're 11-5-4, which is 7th in the NHL. And I think really, I think what we're seeing, Jacob, I agree with you that they're still flawed, and I don't think they're all the way back, as we like to say. But I think they're doing a lot of things better, though. I think you're seeing guys perform better. Michelli's been one of the guys who's really. I was all the way out on Michelli, and I think I prefer for him to stick around now because it looks like he's playing the way I would have wanted him to play at the start of the season. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's always been this good." And I'm like, "Well, no, I don't think so. I think he was overcomplicating his game at the start of the year, and he tried. Not even that he tried to. I think he tried to make stuff happen, and sometimes there's nothing to make happen. And he tried to make stuff happen, and when that happens, majority of the time you're losing the puck and it goes back the other way. And I think we saw that a lot from Michelli early. I think he's simplified his game a lot, and we're seeing him play in the top 6 now, where he's a very effective player. And I think that you can't. I don't want to see him in the bottom 6. I think he's kind of a useless player in the bottom 6. I think we've come to that conclusion with a lot of guys where it's just. And Nick Robertson, I think, would be the outlier in this because I think he's kind of found his way into a role where he can't play in the bottom 6. But I think with Michelli, you want him in those offensive scenarios. You don't want him having to play a grinding style of game. I think you want him to be able to show the skill that he has and the passing ability that he has. It's great. He has good hands too. So I've liked him, but I think that you are getting performances from guys who weren't performing. I think you're a little bit tighter defensively. It's still not great, like you said, Jacob. It's still like that game against Detroit. You're right, some of the goals that they allow just not enough. I think overall at the end of that game, it's a hill to be play where he just tries. I think it's more of a bad bounce than anything. Matthews is backpedaling. We're expecting that puck to come out a little bit harder and get to his tape. We don't need to go over that whole game again, but I think they're doing a lot of things better. I don't think they're great. I think we are still having the injury issues, and I've kind of given up on this, thinking they're gonna get healthy. I don't think they will. Sometimes you just have these seasons where it just kind of is what it is, and we'll get to the injury list here soon. But yeah, I think they're playing a better game. I think they're playing a more solid game, and I think we've seen kind of a shift in the way that they want to play. I'm seeing a little bit less dump and chase, and I think the coaching staff kind of came to that realization that, okay, this isn't working. We have to try to change something up. And I don't know if the numbers have backed it up, but I just feel like there's a little bit more puck possession when trying to enter the zone. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that either. Jacob, you're shaking your head, so I'm assuming that you've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, like the goal last night, like I mentioned earlier, Cowan's goal, that's just a prime example of that. You just on the rush and a beautiful passing play. Just that's like a perfect execution of that, though. You're not going to get that every time, But yeah, it's been better anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they're trying to change the style a little bit, and they needed to. I mean, at the end of the day, if you got to try something, you're kind of stuck with the roster you have right now because I don't think they don't really have the assets to make a significant move to really add. So it's just kind of trying to make the best of what you actually have. But yeah, I think they're playing a better game. I think I'm impressed with them. And the one thing that I'd say is that if they're able to keep playing like this, when you look at the landscape in the Eastern Conference, and this could change over time, sometimes teams just separate, but right now there's nobody there that really scares me all that much. I don't know. You look at the top, you look at the Metro, it's Carolina. Carolina's goaltending is so Bussy had a good or was a good story, and now it's just kind of well, I don't know. He's not actually a real starting goalie you want to go through a playoff run with. Kochetkov is going to be out for the year. Freddie, it's what do you get for Freddie? Or what do you get in Freddie when he goes out there? You don't really know. It's kind of a wild card to toss up with Freddie. You look, and then you Philly. Are you scared of Philly? I don't know if I'm scared of Philly. They've been a nice story. I don't think I'm scared of Philly. Are you scared of the Islanders? Nice story. I don't know if I'm. Maybe they might be a force again, but
it's just so tight that
yeah,
every team's kind of. It feels like every team's kind of on an even playing field right now. Besides maybe Tampa, who are just on a different level right now. But I mean, everybody's so even. Like the season could still go anyway.
Yeah, I'm not even convinced. Like teams like the Islanders and Flyers are gonna make it. They're still. We're only halfway through the season here. Like
one losing streak and they're out.
100%. Look at Buffalo.
The reason I
10 straight and they're not in the playoff spot. Like.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about this because I had this conversation with my friend, my buddy. He asked me, he's like, "Do you think they'll make the Cup final?" Like, just like we're having that random conversation. And the answer is probably no. But I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you round into form, you get some guys back. You like, I don't know. I don't think there's a super team in the East. Like, I might have thought there has been in past years where you look at Florida, if they get in, I mean, they're going to be dangerous either way. But like, they're going to have to be cap compliant with Barkov coming back. So it's not like it's just a simple mix, like just slot him in again. I think they'd have to make a move. I'm pretty sure if they want to be cap compliant. They've played tons of hockey over the last little bit. Like maybe it's just Bobrovsky hasn't been great this season. I think there's like, you don't know. Like sometimes you play so much hockey that you're just done. And I think we saw with Tampa and with where you play tons of hockey, you still make the playoffs, but you go into that first round and another team just has a little bit more juice than you, and you can't do it anymore. And it was the Leafs against Tampa where someone finally beats them, and it's the Leafs in the first round where they beat them in 6, and then they go and get spanked against Florida in the first round the year after, and it's not the same. So maybe they've played a little too much hockey. We'll see. They're gonna get to Chuck back here soon. But yeah, I don't know if I think they're better, the Leafs, but I'm also looking around the East and I'm like, I don't know who really scares me all that much. Like Detroit, like I don't know, do I trust John Gibson, like that old tandem? Yeah. Do I trust Jan Grosser to like go on a deep playoff run? I don't know. And listen, the Leafs might not even make the playoffs at the end of the day. It's so tight, like you guys were saying, but
yeah, I mean, I had to reality check myself, just. Probably today this was where, I was feeling good. Leafs have been good over the last couple of games, coming off a big win against Florida. They're not in the playoff spot, which is crazy because their record suggests that they should at least be in a wild card spot right now.
Well, they'd be first in the Pacific, right? That's insane.
Yeah,
we should talk about Vegas at some point. But
Vegas is at 48 points now, so they wouldn't be. But I think
12 overtime losses.
Yeah. They're on a skid.
I hate this league.
Yeah. But let's move into an injury update here with the Leafs. I like I said, I did that TikTok not too long ago, just outlining everyone. And Anna Dua, I don't think she's been on the Leafs beat the whole year, but she did some really good work just recently at the practice. She just put out a tweet: Jake McCabe, lower body out, likely a week, maybe he'll come back a little bit sooner. He missed last night, obviously. Carlo just came back to the lineup, and I didn't talk about Carlo, but I thought he looked pretty good last night. I've been really hard on Carlo, especially before he went out with the injury. And they said that he had a ankle infection after the foot surgery, which is what impacted it. I kind of wish the Leafs just said, "Hey guys, here's what happened," because I feel like everyone would have been like, "Oh shoot, okay. We'll see you when you get back." I don't think they need to be all secretive about an infection. I don't know how that protects anybody or anything.
I would love
to
know what's going
digress.
on with Tanev,
Well, the rumor and Tanev is out long term. We're gonna see if he gets surgery or not. The rumor is a groin injury on Tanev. He'll be out until I think mid-April, early May is the timeline for him.
Goodbye, my king. I didn't expect you to go on Robida Island this soon.
This early, yeah. Stolarz has been back skating, but they still don't have a timeline on him. Would appreciate a little bit more of an update there, Craig. Well, Brad, because I'm sure it's not Brube, I think.
For all we know, he got shot, and we just had no idea. I mean, dude.
Yeah. Dakota Joshua.
Sorry, I'm gonna make another joke.
Yeah, Dakota Joshua is back in Toronto. He stayed in Detroit after the Red Wings game. He has a lacerated kidney.
I've never seen
out long term. Me neither. Lacerated kidney out long term. I saw David Pagnotta say that there's rumors he'd be out for the year, but it looks like they'll get him back before the season's over. So I just we'll have to see it. It sucks because Joshua has been playing fantastic ever since he got scratched. He's been one of the best league forwards, I think, just in terms of quality of play every night. And then Willie, they say is day to day, but like Seb said, he might have been shot. he might have been shot, and we just don't know. I saw him in the dressing room wearing a huge puffer jacket. He might be stitched up under there, so we don't actually know.
Maybe Anthony Stolarz and William Nylander are the friends we made along the way.
But yeah, I want to move. Just start talking about what it actually means for the team, though, because like those like there's a lot to be talked about with what this lineup looks like when everyone's back, because they've kind of found their groove, but I mean, guys are missing, and we're gonna have to kind of Berube's gonna have to make some decisions here on what he wants to do when everyone gets back. One of the guys I really want to talk about, I think we've actually discussed this fairly often, is Anthony Stolarz, and what do you do with him when he gets back? Because we were talking about earlier how they don't actually have a lot of assets that really make a move. And we've seen Hildeby play well. Woll is back and playing good hockey again. I know he had that one bad goal, but he had a really good game overall. When Anthony Stolarz comes back, do you play him for however long and just try to play some good hockey and see if you can move him? Do you guys move off of Anthony Stolarz once he gets back and healthy?
I think for this season, take advantage of the fact that you can send Hildeby down with waiver exemption. Take advantage of that when it gives you the luxury of knowing you don't have to rush Stolarz back. But when he is fully healthy, and if you can roll him and Joseph Woll, let Stolarz come in. We're all confident in him. I think we all know his lackluster play this year was likely because of an injury, and that eventually took him out. So let him play, see how he plays. I would revisit that in the offseason. If he can come back soon enough and have a good stretch of hockey here to end the year, I think he'll regain some of that value, and then I would seriously consider moving off of him, just because you have Hildeby proving right now that he can stick with the team, and that I think he is ready to play in the NHL. I would look at that maybe in the summer, but I don't know about this year. I don't even know if this is a team you necessarily want to put your chips into, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if this is a team they should be making big moves on right now. I would just kind of let the season play out, get to the trade deadline, maybe make some smaller acquisitions, but they are not in a position asset-wise, and I understand that's why you brought up Stolarz as a potential move. I just don't know I don't know if the value he'll have at this year's deadline is going to be worth it, as opposed to making a bigger move in the offseason where they could improve their team and move towards a better kind of image of what they want for next season.
What do you think, Chico? Would you move Stolarz this year?
Definitely not this year, just because you don't have to. I mean, as long as Hildeby is waivers exempt, and I believe he's waivers exempt next season too, which makes that interesting. It gives you a couple more options too, but no, I mean, just like you said, you don't need to, and you can just get him playing, send Hildeby down, while you still have that option. I'm pretty confident Anthony Stolarz isn't a sub 900 goaltender for the rest of his career. So I think even if he gives you, like, I doubt he's giving you 925 again or 927, whatever he was last year. But if he can give you 910, I mean, Joseph Woll's been pretty great since coming back. So if Anthony Stolarz can provide quality starts in relief of Joseph Woll, I think he'd be doing his job this year. And I mean, we've seen him be a great starting goalie. So I mean, if you just set your expectations low for him this season, maybe he outperforms Woll. Maybe he's your starter late in the season. But yeah, unless you're getting like a crazy offer for him, like Brett Kulak and a second round pick type of offer, I really don't think there's any reason to move off of a Stolarz. What do you think?
Yeah. Here's where I disagree with you guys. I think I would move him right now, and Seb, you said this is this team worth saving. I don't think they have or worth investing in. I don't think they have much of an option. Like unless you're completely out of it once the deadline comes around, you don't have your first round pick. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Like I don't think they're gonna be bad enough where they end up tanking and making the bottom 5. And sometimes maybe they are bad enough, but the lottery balls just don't fall your way and you get pushed into the 6th spot. Now you're handing Boston the 6th overall pick in this draft, where it seems like there's some pretty good prospects that are going to be landing within that top 5, and it's not really a bona fide number 1 pick right now, or consensus number 1 pick. I think if you can move Stolarz, I think right now, and there's always people who are desperate for goalies at the deadline, and I think what scares me about moving him during the offseason, I feel like we never really see goalies get what we think is fair value in the offseason. It feels like you looked at offseason goalie trades, Logan Thompson got 2/3, and he's probably arguably a top 5 goalie in the NHL. And I know his track record wasn't top 5 goalie in the NHL when he got traded, but he was still very, very good for Vegas. And I think we look at that Jari deal, and it seems like Dubas somehow got maybe one of the best packages we've seen for a goaltender in a long time. I think if you do it during the season, and his cap is not enormous to the point where it's going to be hard to find someone who could fit that into the salary structure, I think you do it because I think you could get more during the season when a team's like, I like my team. I think we don't want to run here. We need a goalie. And then because I think if you do that and you're able to add somebody to this roster, I feel like you get more at the deadline than you do in the offseason, where it seems like goalies go for almost nothing regardless of how good they are. I feel like you have to be a top 3 goalie in this league if you really want any value in a trade. And I think if you do it at the deadline now, you might end up getting that forward that defenseman they need with Tandevelt. And I think Hildeby's had enough games to prove to me, and also to me, that he is an NHL goalie. You can rely on him. And the other thing about Hildeby to me is that I was scared that he was going to have a blip, and he played great hockey, has a blip, and he can't get it back because it just shakes his confidence. He had that blip against Edmonton, and he came back and he was fantastic. So I have a lot of faith in Dennis Hildeby, but I think that this team, you kind of force yourself into trying to invest in them a little bit and save them and get them into the playoffs. First of all, because you trade away your first for Carlo. Second of all, I don't think the Eastern Conference, we already talked about, the Eastern Conference isn't that great this year. And I don't know how I could see any team really separating themselves from the pack. Like, I don't know, maybe Carolina does it, maybe they find an option, but maybe Carolina's a team you trade Stolarz to. And maybe you get a player in return. I'd prefer not to trade them into the Eastern Conference, but at the end of the day, you're not going to see them, unless you're a wildcard team. But if you're able to grab that divisional spot, one of the divisional spots, you're not going to see them till the conference final anyways. And at that point, I feel like the trade for Stolarz was worth it if you get to the conference final. And you could play Carolina, who has struggled to get over that hump anyways, right? So I feel like I would trade Stolarz. If you get him in there, you give him a week of good hockey, and then I think you start to shop him, because I think you would get something that's more valuable to the team in the season than you would in the offseason.
I just don't. My only gripe with that, and I'm not opposed to the Leafs making trades at this deadline to try and improve. I just don't think, what I mean by they shouldn't put all their chips in is that they shouldn't, I don't think they have the assets to make, or at least reasonable assets to make a big move that could really move the needle for this team. Like, I think at most what they should be doing this year is making some maybe smaller moves, like get a defenseman, something like that. But moving a guy like Stolarz or moving your prospects like Danford and Cowan, I don't think they should be doing that, because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season and in the off season with who becomes available and whatever. You don't really know the long-term future of a guy like Chris Tanev. You might need to go get a bigger impact guy. And if you're giving up your prospect right now, I mean, you could maybe get that impact guy at this deadline. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And for me, I understand what you mean with the value thing. My issue is that the health concerns with Stolarz, I think, might be something that lingers even when he returns. And I don't know if one good week of hockey is going to be enough to fully rebuild that value. And even if maybe they don't get full value in the off season, I still think they might be able to get more. Like, I mean, a guy like Linus Ullmark still got a first. I mean, Stolarz isn't as good as Linus Ullmark, but I still think they could get decent value in the offseason for him. And even if you're not just trading him, have him in a package for somebody else, maybe that's a higher impact guy, maybe on the back end or something, if that's what they need.
The thing I'd say about that, though, is you're talking about Cowan and Danford, and it sounds like they're not going to move Cowan. Apparently, Kyprios said today that they might look at like a Jason Robertson move in the summer because contract talks have gone south, and Cowan and Danford would be part of that package. I don't know if they even have the assets to make a move like that. Like, I don't think Cowan and Danford's enough. I don't think Stolarz is enough. So, like, what are you realistically going out and taking a big swing at in this offseason, like, for top defenseman? I don't think they have those assets to go out and get that top defenseman.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think they
someone
need a top guy necessarily, but I'm just saying, like, if Chris Tanev, if the long-term health of Tanev is something to be concerned about, they might need to get a guy of not necessarily maybe as good as Chris Tanev defensively, but they might need a top 4 guy, not necessarily an elite whatever defenseman, but that's kind of where I stand on it. But I mean, like I said, I'm not opposed to trading Stolarz. I just think the offseason might be a better place to move him as opposed to this deadline, just because I'm not sure what the league's gonna like. I don't know what the league values him as right now, especially with how long he's been out, and the play at the start of the year was shaky, like we said, probably due to injury, but he's only had one good, like really good year as a relative starter. So I just don't know what his value is right now, and I feel like he might need to build up more good play to actually have some decent enough value. But yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Jacob, or are we good to move on here? Is Jacob there? I don't think Jacob's there. All right, we'll move on. So just something I... Oh?
Hey.
The best part is
There you go.
I know for a fact that entire blip, because Jacob, to us two, you were dead for a second there, like just staring at the screen. I know for a fact you were talking that entire time, and through the recording, it's going to come through normally.
I
we're going to look like
say
lunatics.
a word.
Oh,
Okay.
I was about to start talking, then I just... Oh, goodbye. Anyways, what were you guys talking about? How's it going?
Oh.
Good to see you.
Are you there? Oh yeah, no, you're back. Okay. I was just asking you if you have anything to add on the conversation that me and Seb were having about trading Stolarz, if you would do it now, or if we're good to move on, if you don't have anything to add on it.
The only thing I had to add was I saw that thing that Kyprios said about Jason Robertson too, and I'm gonna be so mad if they trade away every asset they have left just to recreate a core 4 scenario. That is possibly the stupidest thing they could do right now. Like, just why don't, like, Cowan's playing well and Danford projects to be an NHL defenseman.
You know what, dude?
Just keep him. What if you just kept him?
You know what? Like, I think, honest to God, going into the season, I think we all thought they were going to need another forward. I think that's the last thing they need. They've proven they can score enough. It's the defensive issues they've had all year. Yeah, I really don't think they need another forward right now, at least.
I don't think you need an additional forward. I would love someone other than Max Domi. Just in general, like to play with Auston Matthews. I mean, I would love if Tyler Bertuzzi was still on the team.
Dude, I don't know.
I love Matthews, man. Like
I love that Domi McMahon Matthews line. I really do.
I think it works. Like, honestly,
it's been good.
They mesh so well together, and I think McMahon, to that point, we've on this podcast have always talked about that Bertuzzi Domi Matthews line in 23-24 as like just
the ideal line.
It's just urban legend. And I think Bobby McMahon is kind of replicating that, and he's scoring at kind of a not insane clip, but like
McMahon
scored at a pretty solid, especially the past since December. He's been pretty good. I'm pretty sure he's on a 26 goal pace now.
McMahon, I think, has been a perfect.
He's just been really good in the top 6. And
his speed.
I know
really
we have it on
suits.
the outline, but I don't really know what's gonna happen when Nylander comes back, because like Robertson's been playing really well too. I'm really liking how he's playing, especially in the top 6. He's really put it together this year, and
Yeah, I think
I'm
McMahon's.
I'm kind of not concerned, but I'm interested to see what happens when Nylander's back.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I was just about to, Jacob. I don't know if you're there because you're frozen again, but
Okay,
Segue for you.
that's-
You're welcome.
yeah. Oh, there's Jacob.
Hello.
I was just gonna ask if you had anything else to add on to that. Just
Well, yeah, I guess.
Oh.
Hi.
there we go.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're good.
You're
Yeah, you're
good. Now you're
Jesus
good.
Christ. Yeah, I was trying to talk for like the whole time Seb was talking there, and I was getting pissed off because I thought you were just cutting me off, but I guess you just couldn't hear me.
No,
No, I just
I-
didn't hear a word.
Technical difficulties.
I think we're good.
Let's see if
Yeah.
it happens again.
I think we're fine. All right. So apparently Jacob said that McMahon's speed is perfect for the Matthews line and he's fitted really well. That's what he told us once the recording ended.
Let's move
Allegedly.
on.
I guess we'll have to see when the pod is up. But we're gonna move on. I just wanted to see what do you guys think is gonna happen when Nylander returns to the lineup? And Seb, you're about to say it because they kind of have like every line kind of chugging perfectly right now. I mean the top line we were talking about already. I think Michelli. We already talked about Michelli, but the Michelli, Tavares, and Nyes line. I think you probably want a little bit more production out of JT. He's kind of fallen off a little bit as the season's gone on. I don't know if you think about making a move there, but the problem is when you make a move, it's going to be impacted throughout the whole lineup because then you go down to the third line with that Cowan, Waugh, Robertson line, which is kind of like you do that line and it's like, oh, what's that actually going to bring? And it's just been a lot of just like 3 puck hounds, and they just
Great, dude. I
they're
love
just
that
a
third
really
line.
tenacious line. They hit, and Robertson had a nice hit again last night. I feel like he's kind of finding his physical game a little bit
Yeah,
here this season.
He's become a physical player, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I've loved Robbo's all around game this year. I think he's been a lot better than he was in past seasons, and that's why I said earlier that he's kind of the exception to the Michelli rule, because he's kind of found his way into a third line role where he can't score, but he's also playing that style of game that you need to play in the bottom 6 in the NHL. And then listen, I could do without Yardcroak, but that fourth line still, like, I don't know how much you really want to move it around. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what do you do to this lineup, because I don't know. I don't really want to move anyone on that top line.
Dude.
If anyone that's not playing great on that second line, it's probably JT. So like Willie does nothing to change that line. Maybe you get a different look and take Nyes off of it. But
The only thing I could really see happen, like, because here's my issue is like you mentioned earlier with Michelli, he's useless and just useless in the bottom 6. Like, there's no point playing him there. If you're not gonna have a third line that's kind of built around him, there's no point. But what I could see happening, and I don't really want this to happen because we were just talking about it and how well he's playing up there, but if they move Nyes back up to the first line, put McMahon down to like the third and bump Cowan out the lineup again, and then just have Nylander slot in on that right wing, then you have a line of Michelli, Tavares, Nylander, and I mean we've seen it before this year. I don't know how well it's going to work because who's the puck hound on that line? Like, who's the guy that's going to be first in on the forecheck and getting pucks back? But yeah, I don't. Maybe this is just a thing that you like. Let's not think about it right now and worry about it when Nylander comes back. But I don't know. Like, you have options, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, honestly, this
Yeah.
is a position we haven't been in, like, to this level in a while, where like there is genuine depth on this team at the forward position.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest player to take out there for all the points you just made is Michelli. I don't think, like, I think he has been really good. He is doing a lot better, and he has improved a lot. But I don't think that he's better than Cowan, to be honest. I don't, or at least
I just, yeah.
I like what Cowan brings on the third line more than
Yeah.
what McShelly brings on the second line, if that makes sense.
I think Cowan is just easier to slot into a lineup. Like,
Yeah.
Cowan plays a game, and even though he's not fully there yet, like, I don't think he's physically fully matured yet which it's fine. He's at a level where he can survive for the most part, but you still see him get, bodied on a lot of plays.
What if you do this? What if you put Willie in for Yarncroke and then move straight? So take Yarncroke to the lineup, insert Willie obviously, and then you do the lines where you keep the first line the same, and then your second line would be Michelli, JT, Willie. Your third line is Cowan, Watt, Nyes, and then your fourth line is Lorentz, Lawton, Robertson.
I actually was going to mention that too, because they were doing that when Nylander was still in the lineup, where they bumped Nyes down to the third line. I could see that happening too. I just think you still run into the issue of that second line not really having a guy who's going to be first in on that forecheck. Like, Tavares is good in puck battles, but he's the center. Like, I think it's hard for him to be the first guy in on a forecheck, and Michelli does, like, although he's been a little better at it, I still don't think that's his game.
Willie could do it. Willie's not bad in the corners.
But
he won't.
I don't know. You want him.
Yeah, you're right. Depends the night.
Like,
we'll have to ask Willie first before we decide on the lines. Do you want to play in the corners tonight?
Yeah, like, and I think even then though, like, you want him. I don't know if you want him to be your first guy in on that forecheck, even though we know he can do it. I think you want him to be the guy that they get the puck to off of the forecheck. So I don't know. It's a tough spot to kind of.
And this might be all a pointless conversation because there might be 3 more injuries on our forward core before Willie comes back. So
this is true.
Maybe he slots in.
Dude, go to Detroit, see what happens.
Hey, they're going to Philly on Thursday, man.
Yeah.
Where do you think that last
spot
really
came from? Well, I had it originally. What do you do when Dakota Joshua gets back into the lineup? But I mean, like, I don't. It's so far away that it's like, I don't know what you. I don't even think you worry about it right now. Like, I think you have to try to find a line that works for you right now.
Yeah.
So sorry. I think that honestly, I was thinking you put Nyes on the third line and you just see if that second line with Nylander and Michelli works. I don't know what the other option really is. I don't want to break up the top line at all. Like, I have no interest in breaking it up.
The thing is like, you can see in the past 7 games, the 5-0-2 stretch that they're on right now, where Matthews has really turned it back on. You can see like how important him playing at an elite level is to this team. I wanted to mention this earlier when we were having the discussion, just like about their stretch of play recently and how it like kind of has contrasted, and if they're really back. The power play's back on. Penalty kill has been great since like mid-November, early December-ish. And then Matthews starts scoring again when the Stars in general just started scoring, but really Matthews. You're able to not outrun, like, I don't want to say outrun your problems, but you can kind of outrun your problems. Like, especially with the power play, it's so important to have a good power play because you're not going to have it most times for a full 60 minutes. You're not going to have perfect games all the time. And being able to kind of basically cheat with a power play and get a quick goal in is super important. And we've been seeing that in the past few games. Like, that Winnipeg game, if they had the power play, the Mark Savard power play in that game, they're not coming back. Like, getting that power play goal from Matthews was so important to that comeback win. These things are starting to click now, and I think Matthews scoring as well, having your stars do things that normal players can't do, and kind of being able to get you out of games you might not be perfect in, I think is so important. So having Matthews playing at the level he's playing at now is like paramount for this team, especially with Nylander out. I agree. Like, I really don't want to see that line broken up. If it's working, keep going until it doesn't work anymore, and then you have to make a change.
Yeah, I think and Jacob, you can jump in here if you have anything to add. The other thing I'd say about the top line is that I think when you put McMahon and Domi there, that creates a lot of the depth, because you put those two wingers up there, and it's come up again, Bertuzzi, Matthews, and Domi on that, Bertuzzi, Matthews, and Domi, and it's like, it's like you put those guys up there who probably aren't top line wingers, but they perform up there with Matthews, and it pushes everyone else down a slot, and your lineup looks a lot deeper now. So I don't know if you have anything to say on that, Jacob, if you want to add anything there.
No, not really. I think you guys said it all.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on. Oh, you know what? No, I want to talk about Matthews quickly. We were just talking about him. I didn't want to start the show off with it because we've missed so much that I would kind of feel a little bit off to not talk about the injuries and the recent play and everything. But obviously on Long Island, he scores 2 goals, which passes Matt Sundin for the all-time leading goal scorer. He's had 6 goals in his last 3 games. He's starting to look a lot more like Matthews. Just I'm starting to get excited when he's on the puck again. Like it feels like that shot's back. He tried it again against Florida. He could have had a hat trick again, but
See that toe drag he had?
I was just about to say on the 2-on-1 toe drag around the side defender, just barely misses blocker side. I mean that's what we're used to seeing from Matthews, and I mean I'm excited that he looks like he's back.
I know he's back on like a 45 goal pace. Like I don't even with injury. I'm not sure the 45 goals is on a like full season pace or if that's including injury. But I believe
that's the full season pace.
Full season pace. Okay, yeah. So 50 might still be out of the question, but
I
mean,
so.
who cares about
guy,
that? As long as he's playing hot going into the end of the season, and if he can keep helping them get wins. I don't really care what his end of season total is. I just care about how he's playing, and he looks dominant.
He's at 21 goals right now, over under 40, both of you, quick. 39.5. Are you taking the over or the under?
Over.
Okay. Go ahead, Jacob. Sorry, I just wanted to get that in there.
I was just going to say, I remember our last show before Christmas, we were talking about, it's looking like he's finally starting to get back to where he was. How worried are we about Auston Matthews? Is he ever going to get back there? And I think there's really no question.
You know when I knew he was really back? That goal to tie the Matt Sundin record. That goal where he made that power move, drove the net. That was so reminiscent of, I can't remember what numbered goal it was, but I think it was
against Dallas. Was it against Dallas in overtime? Yeah.
Yes, the one where Dallas was wearing the black jerseys. I think
he scored 50. I think that was the 50th or 60th goal. It was 60th goal that night.
Was that 60? Oh, he did 60 twice.
It was an important goal. It
was 50 or 60. I think it was 60.
Because 60, I know 60 the first time was against Detroit, right?
Yeah. Matthews goes 0 to 60. That was the Chris Cuthbert call. Yeah.
I know that, like, I just remember that goal is stapled in my mind because that was just like the peak Matthews dominance that we've seen. Like I just remember that just like encapsulated everything because that stretch of play he had was just so insane. He had like an in-season 50 goals in 50 games, and that like was part of what capped it off. And it was just like, this is insane. Like this is special. And seeing that goal against the Islanders where he tied the record and it was like almost identical to that play, I was just like, yeah, he's back. That the Matthews of like November isn't doing that shit. Like you can tell. I think a lot of this was confidence, honestly, and pressure. And I think for whatever reason, it's just clicked, and he's found it. I don't know what it is. He's found his game again, and it's very important.
Go ahead, Jacob.
No, please, yeah.
No, where does he rank for you guys as an all-time Leaf? Is he number 1? Because this is a big debate that's going on.
Dude.
And I think a lot of it is a generation gap. I think we're seeing it between the people like our age in our 20s I'm 20, we're all 20, that has grown up with the Matthews team, where first memories of hockey for me are the Kessel teams, and then obviously our first real playoff teams were the Matthews teams. And then I have my dad, who's just shy of his 50s, who says that Gilmore is the greatest Leaf of all time. And then you have people who are even older. Some are saying Keon, and there's also some people that are up there that are like that old and saw those teams. They'll say no, Matthews is still the greatest, but it just seems like a real generation gap. It seems like Matts is also up there for some of the guys who are a little bit, probably about 10 years older than us, in their early 30s, who grew up with those Sundin teams. I think it really depends on like what era you grew up watching the Leafs, or when you really cared about these Leafs teams. I think I mean, I don't know. I love hockey history and I love Leaf history, so I've watched a lot of the games from the '90s just on YouTube. Like, if I'm bored, I'll put them on or something like that, so you get to see the difference in hockey. But I still think for me, he's the greatest Leaf ever. I don't know what you guys have to say.
It's an interesting thing because I think obviously a lot of people are going to quantify greatness differently, and unfortunately for us, we don't have the benefit of experiencing most of Leafs history firsthand. We have to go back, and mostly what we're doing is we're looking at stats. So you might say, oh, Doug Gilmour, yeah, he was really good as a Leaf, but he only played 5 seasons here. But then someone who lived those 5 seasons would say, you don't get it. You know what I mean?
You don't get it. They went to the conference final. We were a high stick away from going to play Montreal in the Cup final, and all those stories where the Habs wanted to play LA. It's crazy.
How those guys talk about Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark is how I'm going to be talking about Ernie Clement in 20 years. But you get what I mean. So I think it's an objective fact that in terms of skill, Auston Matthews is the best player that has ever played.
I'm gonna talk about bullpen Chris Bassett to my kids.
That was the last name I expected to come out of your mouth there. I was like, I took it back for that.
Lauer's game 2 performance.
Lauer hour. Who's dialed in for the Lauer hour?
No. You ready for this one? 2021 season, I call up Travis Boyd for 10 games.
Oh my God!
That was special. The Boydland sanity run.
Yeah. And then Vancouver's like, we need that because we want every former Leaf of all time. Actually,
Jimmy Vesey and Travis Boyd.
Yeah. But yeah. So is he number 1 for you guys? Matthews is number 1.
So. It's fun. I just had like a debate with my dad about this because I posted a video on our Instagram and TikTok about Auston Matthews breaking the all-time Leafs goal record, and I said at the end of that video, I snuck it in. I'm like, drop in the comments. Do you guys think he's the greatest Leaf of all time? I think he is.
Engagement bait.
And
didn't work.
No
but, 2 likes.
and my dad took exception to that because he's watched the Leafs obviously for longer than I have, and he brought up the names like, you know, Sundin, Gilmour, and even guys like Clark, who maybe aren't as much there on the score sheet, but I think Clark, you know, being the captain, he was the face of the team for a long time until he. Really
There's also the culture around the Leafs too. Like you look at those, you talk to anybody who watched those '90s teams, it's always like, oh, it was Wendell. It was Wendell because he goes in there, he beats the shit out of you, and he might score a hat trick too. Like
there were a couple years there where he was able to. He scored 40 goals. He had like a bajillion penalty minutes because he would just kill everybody he saw, and he was clutch in the playoffs too. Like there were a few years there where he really was like the face of the team, and then you go even further back than that, guys like Salming, Sittler, and then you go even further, Keon, like guys who actually won cups. And
I think that's an interesting point that you just brought up there quickly. Said like the weird thing about Leaf history is that you don't have somebody who's actually won until you go back to the 60s, and it's like, well, how do you?
Era. Like the Leafs have never won 3 rounds in a playoff series.
Yeah, 3 rounds. Well, no one's ever won 3 rounds in a playoff series, actually.
Sorry, yeah,
you're so right. No. This is a little bit anecdotal, a little bit off topic, but specifically on Wendell Clark, and in terms of the greatest players in Leafs history, like I grew up, my dad being a huge Leafs fan, and just. He taught me about like the teams he watched growing up, and it was all about Wendell Clark, like you said, Seb. And I remember I was probably around 12 or 13 when I realized that Wendell Clark is not one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
he's not Wayne Gretzky, actually. Yeah, no, he's not even in the top 20.
Dude, it's so crazy. Dude,
probably.
Dude, there was a book that I had when I was a kid. My dad got it.
Wendell and the Great One? Is this what you're talking about?
Wendell and the Great One, dude. I had that book, and I thought,
my perspective,
dude,
man.
It does. And then I remember I found out what hockey DB was, and I go look at Wendell Clark, and I'm like, oh, he had like 500 points.
I remember when
played only like 10 years, dude. Like
Still
insane.
one of the coolest pieces of sports memorabilia I ever had. One of my dad's cousins, he's a huge Habs fan. He loves sports memorabilia. And I don't have much, but he anything I have is mostly from him because he gets me autographs sometimes at these late events. So it's a Wendell Clark autograph, and you can't really see it because it's in the blue jersey. It says to Mateo. I have one for Sittler. I have one for Cujo. Chris Joseph. I'm a big goalie guy, so I love Cujo. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's meant to, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can see all Cujo there. That's Gilmore in the middle right there.
By the way, guys, while we're on the 90s, I forgot I had this. I just looked on my desk. I'm gonna have to open at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
I gotta open this at the end of the episode. It's a 1990 score pack. Sorry, I just remembered that now.
I remember when.
Yeah, no, it's just like because I sorry to cut you off, but it's just like when I want to just put because you guys were both talking about how like Wendell, like the aura around them in the city, and okay, you're an unlovable chud, you know that. But
Daughter.
But a lot of it with the Leafs, like greatest Leaf of all time, a lot of it comes down to just the mystique of them and like their legend in the city. Because like I said, for our dads, it was probably Wendell and it was probably Gilmore, and for people who are a little bit younger than our dads, it was Matts and Gary Roberts. I mean, he's not up there, but like those are the players they talk about with these teams.
And the craziest part, they never even made a final.
Nope. And that's what I was about to say. So it's so hard to quantify.
Conference finals, that's it. And not to say that's it. They did it in much shorter spans than anything this current iteration of the Leafs have done. But they never got it done. They made it.
Well, that's what I was about to say. You don't have a definitive. No, this guy won a cup. This guy did this in the playoffs. And honestly, you look at it, it's like those guys that everyone says, no, these guys are the greatest Leaf of all time. They didn't win anything, but Gilmore has a wraparound goal against St. Louis. Matts has like countless moments where he's just solid throughout the whole playoffs. He scores a game time goal with 15 seconds in Game 6 of the conference finals. They at least lose in overtime in that game, but he came up clutch. Like these guys have clutch moments that people remember, and they had deep runs, and they were. And the other thing too, and I mean, the Steve Dangle podcast talks a lot about this. It's a lot about the style of play too, because you talk about Wendell. What do our dads love about Wendell? He would murder somebody and then he would score. Gilmore, he was small, but he would play bigger than he actually was. Matts,
collar city, man.
Matts gets a lot of. Some people don't love Matts because he wasn't that big fighter. He wasn't fiery. He was kind of quiet. He was more of a skill player. But who does the city love from those teams? There's people walking around with Ty Domi jerseys on. Ty Domi was Gary Roberts, but Ty Domi wasn't a skilled player. That guy was a grinder. Like he would kick the shit out of you. That was his game.
Overestimating what he was capable of doing, dude. Like that guy has
20 goals once.
He did.
You know what? I'm underrating Ty Domi. He actually did score occasionally.
Yeah, once. And I think it was with Lindros.
He actually never had 20 goals.
Did you? I thought he did.
His career high his season high was 15.
But anyways, I think that's also the thing with older Leaf fans now. They don't like the style of game that the Matthews teams have played. Yeah. They don't fight. A huge thing throughout the whole core forwards. These guys don't stand up for themselves. They're soft. They crack under pressure, and it's still a storyline to this day. We opened the podcast with saying I said I was happy to see the Leafs thing get bullied, and it's because every single time you watch this team play against a team who's physical, it feels like they get bullied, and they end up complaining about the refs after not the team, but the fans. Like our fan base is like, they should have called that, they should have called this, and it's just there's a disconnect there.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason why, honestly, like last year's Leafs team was really loved. Like I think last year's Leaf team was honestly the most people have liked this team in a
Leaf
while,
team, yeah.
Just because the style of play was so different and they really did stick up for each other.
Dude, that team got my dad believing. My dad never believes in this Leaf team. Dude, it had my dad.
Dude, we all were, dude. Like,
yeah,
that was a fun.
Dude, they were
a fun team to watch.
Dude, they were a bad bounce in overtime away from being up 3-1 on Florida.
Dude,
It went off of
3-0,
Mo's ass.
3-0.
Sorry, 3-0. 3-0 on Florida. It bounced off of Mo's ass and into
gotta
the back
talk
of
about
the
this.
pass wall.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, I know, you're right. But
I
no,
mean,
it's just
we're,
it.
We're away from the point on Matthew. We started this with Matthew.
Yeah. Well, I think that we're still on the point, though, because I think
Yeah.
it's just talking about the disconnect with the fans and the way that these guys play hockey. And another thing is Matthews is so monotone all the time. But I think what was cool for me is to watch him have that. And I wish I stayed. I didn't know that they were going to do an interview with him on the bench after the game because they never do that with the Leafs. But they had that interview with him on the bench after the game, and the fans are cheering, and you could see like he takes a minute just to take it all in, and it's the first time in a long.
little bit too.
Yeah, it was like the first time in a long time you've seen him really embrace the fans, and he also said it's great to play in front of the greatest fans in the league. And whether he believes that or greatest fans in the world, whether he believes that or not, he said it, and it feels like a lot of the time the players on this team have acted like fans are a nuisance to them, and they don't want to play in front of them. And I feel that's part of the disconnect, and I feel that's a problem. Part of the reason why a lot of Leaf fans don't look at Matthews like the greatest Leaf ever when I think he is, because you look at his seasons. I was going through the Hockey DB with my girlfriend last night. She's like, he won the Rocket 3 times. I'm like, yeah, 3 times. And there's a Hart there. There's a Ted. I forgot about the Ted Lindsay. The Ted Lindsay's there. He won the Calder. He's won as many personal awards as you could win. And the problem is he's known as a choker. And honestly, he earned that reputation because he has not been good enough when it matters. And what do you? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting conversation that I don't think anyone will ever end unless they go on a conference final run like Mats did, like Gilmore did, like Wendell did.
He just needs to have a certain level of dominance in the playoffs that he just hasn't found yet, I think.
Well, he had that one series against Tampa, and then he followed up by being a ghost against Florida.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He has to have a consistent, dominant performance through a playoff run, and it can't just be a couple games. It can't just be a couple of rounds. Like he's got to find either that. You either have
He's
to have
had
that
those
or-
series.
but
That's the
you either
problem.
have
It's
to
like,
have that, or you have to win.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Because I think if he plays the rest of his career with the Leafs, he's going to become the first Leaf to score 1,000 points. I think he's going to be the all-time leader in Leafs goals for a long time. Probably
I don't think
for
anyone's
the
going
next-
to. Yeah.
probably
Easton
the next
Cowan
50
could
years.
break that.
Yeah.
With 5 goals on the season this year, Easton Cowan.
Hey man, he just has to follow up with a couple 7
No, but
goal seasons.
Jacob, keep going. Like I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Sorry,
Yeah, but there's always going to be that question mark, even if with all that regular season success, even if he's leaps and bounds ahead of everyone, there's always going to be a question mark. He never got it done in the playoffs, so there's.
you know what's gonna.
Gilmore almost did. Sundin almost did.
I was thinking about it last night when I was at the arena because I'm looking up at all the banners of the retired players, and I'm like, it's gonna be really weird when Matthews' banner goes up, and you're like, they didn't do anything. That guy has every record that this over 100-year-old franchise has, and they have nothing to show for it. And Mitch is probably the greatest Toronto-born Leaf of all time, and they have nothing to show for it with him. And Willie was an unbelievable player, but he's not a Hall of Famer, and I don't know if he just has his number retired. But those teams had nothing to show for it. Mo was one of the best defensemen statistically as a Leaf, and nothing to show for it. And it's such a weird era of Leaf hockey to see. Like, there's been like great moments where you get excited and you think, oh my God, they might actually do it. And I had that feeling when we beat Tampa. I had that feeling last year when we beat Ottawa, and I felt it even stronger when we were up in Game 3 with the chance to put Florida on the ropes, and they never come through. And it's like, how much longer do we actually have these guys? We're looking right down the barrel of it this year. If they don't keep playing the way that they're playing right now, and they're out of a playoff spot and they don't make the playoffs,
man.
it's like, what do you do? And it's such a weird thing to think about when it's cool. It's going to be awesome that I could say I watched probably 90% of those goals live, like watching on TV or in the arena, and I saw the most dominant player in Leaf history. And then you look at, okay, like what are his best moments? It's like, I don't know, like what are his best moments?
Goal against Tampa in the first round.
Yeah. the game six goal against Ottawa at the start of the game, the game six goal against Florida, but they ended up not showing up in game 7, so it didn't end up mattering. And it's like,
There was one goal
like-
against. I think he had straight up one goal against Montreal.
yeah,
I think it was
And-
assisted by Justin Hall.
that goal that he scored against Boston the year that they lost with Sammy and that, where Domi has the alley-oop past him, McAvoy toe
was a
picks
good
behind him, and he scored. and no, but he was unbelievable in that game. And the frustrating thing is like
That-
he's
you know
had
what?
series.
That
Like, he's
series
had
was pretty
series.
good.
Dude, he's had series where he's performed well. He has scored, he's performed well. The problem is that they either lose a series or they move on and he's a ghost after that. And it's like, well, no, like that's not how it works. You get paid $13 million where at the time $12 million, like you need to be there every single series. You can't take nights off. It's a playoff. It's a playoff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's something that we won't really have an answer on until like time passes and we see more of how this actually develops. But
Yeah. For me, I think talent wise, I don't think the Leafs have ever had a player as talented as Auston Matthews. You can't deny that. The Leafs have
No.
never had a guy who's really. I think the only person you can even say was close to that level was Doug Gilmour when he had like 127 points and was
Dude,
like a
what about
Selke
Mitch?
nominee.
I hate
Okay,
Mitch,
I mean,
but
Mitch,
like,
yeah, but I think Gilmour, that single season he had where he had like, yeah, it was 95 assists, 127 points, and then 35 points in the playoff. Oh my, dude, 35 points in 21 playoff games and 93
That's
for Gilmour.
crazy.
Holy shit. But like I think 69 goals is just something that rarely ever like it rarely ever happens, and the Leafs have that guy who's done that and who broke the Leafs goal scoring record at 28 years old for a franchise that has been around for what 111 years, 112.
what,
something
1917
like that?
is when it was founded.
Sorry, so 100 and whatever. You get the point.
Long time.
They've
long
never had
time.
a guy this talented, and for me, I've seen this comparison drawn a few times, and I've always kind of had this in the back, or not always, but for the past couple of years, I've had this comparison in the back of my mind. There's so many parallels between the Maple Leafs of this generation, and I feel like the Washington Capitals, during their like real prime with Ovi. Like obviously it's not direct comparison, I guess, but there are a lot of parallels, and I think I do have the confidence that Matthews can. I think this team at least can figure it out with Matthews. It's just a matter of when, and he's got to really decide. Like, I think at the end of the day, a lot of this falls on him. Like, you're the best guy. You got to be the guy to really like put the team on your back in big moments, and he's just got to figure that out, I think, to be like the bona fide greatest Leaf of all time. Because I guess there's a difference between best and greatest. I
still think he's the greatest. Yeah, I still think he is.
Like that's my opinion. But I can see the other arguments. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, yeah, he's the bona fide. Like, your argument sucks. Like, I see the arguments for all the other guys that have been brought up. You can even.
I never watched Vive. I never watched that era of the Leafs. Like the most I've watched is the '90s, like on YouTube, and it's not like full seasons where you're catching the full narratives throughout the year and you're seeing how people and following the lead. You just kind of watch games and they're individual and isolated. So you see the play style, but like it's not the same thing as like being in the moment, like following that team. You don't know what it's like. But Jacob, do you have anything to add, or are we get to move on to league talk?
We can move on.
Yeah, all right. I see one of you guys added juniors at the bottom. World Juniors. Was that you, Jacob?
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah.
Earlier, and I was like,
Yeah. We could briefly talk about the World Juniors. I mean, Sweden wins gold over Czechia. Canada chokes against Czechia again. I don't know. I have a hard time with the World Juniors. So I'm like,
I don't know.
it becomes a little hard to start criticizing them when you're like, oh damn, these guys are like younger than me.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like,
younger than us now. It's like,
yeah. So it's like,
man,
I don't know.
Sorry, dude.
I mean, I don't know.
Sweden-
I
Sweden rarely.
yeah, Sweden.
Congrats,
Second-
Victor Johansson.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Leaf prospect. I think
played
it's only
I
their
think, at
second gold medal in like the last 40 years. I think like.
I think
Congrats to
Vigo Bjork is one of my favorite names of all time.
Oh, he's good. No, congrats to Victor Johansson, who I think played a total of 30 seconds that entire tournament. That was
Yeah.
great to do prospect reviews for. It was so bad to the point where I had to do one of my game reviews partially on Johansson, and I was just like, oh yeah, so here's this other guy on Sweden that I like really liked, and I went
Who
in
scored
for,
in the
like,
gold medal game?
He did, yes, Kasper
Yeah.
Ustamara, and then I went in for like 3 minutes talking about that guy. Like that was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If we're all three of us are from Toronto or just outside Toronto, so we're gonna focus on Canada here. I don't know. I don't think there's any need for like everyone. Every time they lose, everyone's like, "Do we need a summit? Do we need a summit?" Like jokingly sometimes, but also sometimes it's real. But I don't know. I think you kind of just lost. I think sometimes you lose and you lost. Like the team was pretty bad. Yes, the team was pretty bad defensively. I think we knew that all tournament. But they did score and they scored. Just couldn't. I don't know. It's hard for me to have a takeaway from this one. It's like you look at this Team Canada roster. It's like, well, Celebrini could have been there. Schaefer could have been there. Dickinson could have been there. Who's in Seattle? Cadden, thank you. Could have been there. It's not really their best roster.
First and second NHL goal last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think getting riled up about the World Juniors is always kind of a waste of time to me because I always think that every single year we see the best Canadians of that age group playing in the NHL anyways. So it's like,
and I'm gonna make a controversial comment here. I have a hard time trusting legitimacy of international competition when a top 3 hockey nation is not playing. You know?
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is like that's not even a geopolitical comment. That's just like the top 3. It's a hockey comment. Like they're not there. I don't know. Like, does Canada beat Russia? Does Czech beat Russia? Does Sweden beat Russia? Does the U.S. beat Russia? We don't know.
Has had a real emergence. Who knows if they're even in playoff rounds if Russia's there?
Well, that's the thing. And we're gonna see the same thing at the Olympics. And I had the same thought during the Four Nations. And it's just like, okay, I don't know. And the other thing about the World Juniors too is that the Russian prospects, they don't get a lot of coverage anymore because it's like how. Like a lot of NHL teams have admitted, scouting Russia is kind of hard right now. Like it's not easy. So I don't know. I think it was an entertaining tournament. I thought the hockey was great. I think people losing their mind over Martone patting that guy on the ass. A little bit like everyone relax a bit, please. I don't know. He apologized, whatever.
I don't like when people use the World Juniors as like a major, I guess, like you could say scouting event, I guess, where they heavily take World Juniors into their stock or prospect, and it's like that doesn't make sense to me because especially on like the bigger teams like Team Canada, Team USA, a lot of those guys coming back are overagers or have already been drafted, and it's like if you're looking at a dude who like, you know, isn't in or is like in their draft eligible year or something, it's like they're playing like, I don't know, it's a small sample size. Like you're taking a 7-game international tournament and trying to like project how good this one player is going to be based off of that, or like you're using that too heavily.
The other thing is that
your opinion.
I am a big soccer fan too, and I have this conversation with my dad and my brother and my cousin because I'm Italian, also Portuguese, but Italy typically always does well, or has recently done very well in the development, like the U18s and stuff like that, and then they have trouble graduating them. And the thing I always say is that in these tournaments, it's not about who has the best players; it's about who plays the best as a team. And it's not really a fair or accurate representation of who's actually the best hockey country, because it's like, I don't know, like I said earlier about Canada, like Celebrini's not there, could have been there, but like also you look back at a lot of these World Juniors, and it's just, same thing with the soccer thing too. It's like you look at the players who have big games, and it's like a lot of the times these guys don't end up being great NHLers. I think who scored the gold medal winning goal against Russia for Canada? Puck goes off. I can't remember who scored that goal, but
didn't Maxime Comtois have like a big tournament once?
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
And now he's
unbelievable.
In, like, second tier, like in Europe somewhere. Like he's not even.
like a lot of these guys who have great tournaments don't end up being great players in the NHL because it's a tournament. You're there for 2-3 weeks. If you have a hot 2-3 weeks against everyone who's your age and sometimes younger, it's like, yeah, you could have a great tournament, but it is, I don't know. I have such a hard time with people. Like, listen, I love the World Juniors. I do take it seriously when it's on. Like, I'm cheering hard for Canada always. I celebrate goals big time when they score because I want them to win. Like, I want Canada to win. It's just like, I don't know. I don't think it means much. I think just enjoy the hockey. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, cheer for your country. Get excited for your prospects. It's kind of the whole point. But I don't know. I thought it was good hockey. I think people overanalyze a lot too. I think everyone's like with Marteau and especially Tavares would have never done that. McDavid would have never done that. It's like, all right, man. Like, can we like settle down? It's junior hockey. You see a lot worse in junior hockey. Like, I don't.
We want hockey players to have some personality.
Yeah.
Like Akil Thomas.
Let it be, man.
Thank you. Akil Thomas, like, is he even playing in the NHL?
That's a name and a half, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Jacob. He scored that goal and it was huge. Like they beat Russia, and I'm pretty sure it was in Russia, or no, it wasn't in Russia. Where was it?
Oh, I just had
it was in Europe. It was one of those European tournaments. I think.
Are you ready?
What?
Are you ready to feel old? Guess how old Akil Thomas is.
25.
He's 26.
Yeah.
When was he drafted?
2018.
Oh my god. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, these guys have big moments, and it's great for them, and it's awesome to look back on. And it's like your early hockey memories are built off of tournaments like that. But it's like he's playing the AHL right now. He had the biggest goal of the tournament. It's like, I don't know, I don't care. Like, and there's obviously the other way around of that too. Like, Bedard is like unbelievable, and he had that goal against Slovakia. Everyone remembers, and he was unbelievable at tournament. McDavid was pretty good for the World Juniors. JT had a huge tournament. These guys ended like. But I don't know. I just those guys only go once because they get drafted, and no one's allowing their first overall pick to go back to the World Juniors unless you're not really.
Like at Kirby Dog.
Yeah, you're not really generational. Yeah, it's just I don't know. But yeah, are we done with the juniors? Anything else to add from you guys?
On to the league stuff.
Yeah,
it's getting late here.
Yeah. Okay. There's two big stories in the NHL right now for teams who are kind of falling off a little bit. Markstrom had, according to Money Puck, actually, I want to pull this up. I have this in my camera roll because I couldn't believe it, and I want to get it word for word right. We have Money Puck on Jake Markstrom. We have confirmed new worst goalie performance in the modern stats era going back to 2007. He had Jacob Markstrom last night in the 9-0 loss to the New York Islanders had a negative 7.57 or 7.57 goals saved above expected, and was in net for 9 goals against. The expected goals against on the night was 1.433. So, and I don't know. I don't agree with that. Some of the goals.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Negative. How many? What was the expected goal or goal saved above?
Negative 7.57.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Who are they playing?
So
the Islanders.
The Islanders.
The
Islanders had 9
goals of 1 point whatever, and they scored 9 times.
1.43. If you look at the deserve to win meter on Money Puck, the Devils deserve to win that game because they got Igor Shesterkin. Sorry about that. Ilya Sorokin had a 44 save shutout against them in the same game. So, yeah. Markstrom allowed 9 on 24. Sorokin had a 44 save shutout. And Keefe, after the game, they asked him, and he's like, it's tough because I think we played one of our best offensive games in a long time. And I'm like, that is the most Sheldon Keefe-esque quote I've seen in my life because you just got... and like, whatever. Sometimes you get goalied, but you just got stomped 9-0, dude. 9-0. You got stomped 9-0. Yeah. And Markstrom was in net for the whole thing. Doesn't pull him. And as a goalie, that drives me nuts. It drove Lundqvist nuts too. I saw him on the panel where he's like, you gotta protect your goalie.
Sorry,
and
this is kind of unrelated. Did you guys see PK Subban on the broadcast?
Yeah.
Got thrown on the ice. That was fucking hilarious.
No, it's not even unrelated because it was a game before this. And it's just it was a game before. So and I don't want to talk. The Markstrom thing I found funny, and Markstrom has been not good this year. They signed him to that big contract.
7 goals saved
Yeah.
above expected.
7.5 actually, but I don't want to talk about Markstrom in particular because like whatever, like that's insane. It's funny. He hasn't been good enough, but I want to make this an overall conversation about the Devils because Luke Hughes, Jacob, you were talking about when PK Subban's jersey got thrown on the ice that night. Devils fans were booing Luke Hughes every time he touched the puck because he had 2 own goals, and he had a brutal night, and everyone expected Quinn Hughes. Well, they signed him to that $9 million contract extension. Yeah. Everyone in New Jersey expected Quinn Hughes to be on this team by now. Sorry, Quinn Hughes. Sorry. Yeah, everyone expected Quinn Hughes to be on this team by now, and if Quinn Hughes is on this team, you know what? Maybe the Jersey's friends are like, tough night, tough. They're not. They're booing their own team off the ice. They're throwing PK Subban's jersey on the ice. But
call this a hot take. I don't think getting Quinn Hughes was gonna help their problem.
No, and this is what I want to talk about.
Offensive defenseman.
This is what I was going to talk about, and I'm led with that because I think that kind of encapsulates what's going on with Jersey. But what do you guys think is wrong with the Devils right now? They are they're tanking the standings. And we're gonna talk about the team that's 31st or 32nd. Sorry. Once we're done with Jersey, but I'm just trying to pull up the standings real quick. I should have had this prepped. I'm sorry.
I think their issues begin with giving Thanasis $9 million.
Well, yeah, Luke Hughes for everyone who.
Yes.
Yeah. For those who don't follow basketball.
Come on, man.
Jersey's sorry, Jacob. Give me 1 second just to say they are 19th in the standings, and they went 8-1 to start the season. By the way, they are now 22-19-2.
They did this.
So go
this
ahead.
is the second year in a row they've like completely collapsed come January.
Yeah. No, I mean like they are in cap hell, and it is their own fault because
yeah.
I mean, I don't. It's revisionist. Andre Palat's bad, but I think it's revisionist to criticize the Dougie Hamilton signing. Yeah, the contract's long, but I think he was worth $9 million when that contract was signed.
For sure.
And the Devils could afford it back then, so why the hell not? It was a great move, but Luke Hughes, I don't think has done anything in his career to deserve $9 million. I mean, I know he's your
or a moment.
They were trying to future-proof themselves. They were trying to avoid the, bridge deal, big breakout, and then he goes and is worth like 12, 13. But I mean,
you give him the Owen Power contract, then you give him the Uri Slavkovsky contract, where you give him 7.5.
Well, I think they tried, and I think they got screwed over because I feel like Luke Hughes had the leverage.
But what leverage did he have, though? That's the thing I don't get with.
I think him and Jack Hughes have the leverage of, we are brothers. Jack Hughes is your best player. If I'm not on this team or if I'm unhappy, my brother's unhappy.
I was gonna say, if this guy's name is like Luke De Silva, then
excuse me.
I don't think you have
that he's working at Canadian Tire.
Why are we doxing me now, man?
Or a moment at Canadian Tire.
Dude, you haven't worked there forever enough.
I still am employed.
Barely enough.
Well, I broke my foot, man. What do you want from me?
Holy soft. This is the problem with the Devils. Luke De Silva can't play through a broken foot. Put a boot on there and get moving.
The Timo Meier contract is also like not great.
It's bad. Yeah, it's not great.
8.8 for I don't know how Meier's been. He's got 25 points in 38 games. That's not an $8.8 million player.
That Meier thing is so weird because he was so dominant in San Jose. Like, that guy looked like a one-of-a-kind player.
He was gross.
It's a case of someone's got to score on a bad team, I think.
I guess.
Maybe.
But they were good when he was there still. Like, he had productive seasons while they were still competitive.
You're right.
Dude, this team is so confusing because they look good on paper. They always look good on paper. I feel like a lot of people thought New Jersey had one of like the best off seasons. But I think this issue just runs deeper than, go get, this forward or something, or go get this, go get that. I think there's some serious identity issues on this team.
Yeah.
We kind of see it a lot. They're a pretty soft team. and they have kind of tried to address it. Like they made that Paul Cotter for Alex Holtz trade.
Who has had a pretty hard fall off this year, by the way.
Who?
Yeah,
Paul
he was
Cotter
unbelievable
or
to start the
Holtz?
season.
5 goals, 10 points in 40 games.
Paul Cotter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was never the highest scoring guy. That was always a dude they were getting to try and kind of shape that bottom six a little bit. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't think it's enough to just, go get one guy. It's kind of what the Leafs were doing early in the Keefe and Babcock years, where they got their couple of guys and they were like, hey, you're our designated tough guys. But it's like, that's not how it works. Everybody's got to be kind of invested in that. And yeah, I think they have bad money on the books. Like, they've got guys like Andre Palat that we just mentioned,
Dougie Hamilton,
Kovacevic, underratedly.
Dude, Keefe hates that guy with a passion.
Well,
I think he hates him more than he hated Nylander.
Dude, he probably shouldn't be making $4 million.
Well.
And then I think they got an issue with Dougie Hamilton and Luke Hughes too. Like, I think those are redundant players, and we're seeing it this year. Dougie Hamilton is not.
Simon Nemec, who they expected to be a stud, has not panned out yet, and he's coming up on the end of his entry level.
He is having a pretty good year, to be fair.
Right now,
18 points in 31 games. He was playing solid.
Better than I thought.
Those fans were a big fan of his game this year, but he's injured at the moment. But he's another guy who's kind of more of an offensive. He's okay defensively, but he's not necessarily going to be like your physical. They've got like Brendan Dillon, but besides that, like your roster.
He's also 35.
Yeah, like it's tough, man. I don't know. Like I think there's some issues in terms of the roster construction and identity. That they got to figure something out. I think the GM needs to go. Tom Fitzgerald was at his time.
Yeah.
I think like they've got the pieces there. I mean, you have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, and I mean, I criticize his contract, but Timo Meier is a talented player too. They've got, and if Luke Hughes wasn't making $9 million, I'd say you have Luke Hughes. But God damn, wow, their cap situation is just horrendous to look at.
And everyone has a no move clause. Like, Timo Meier, like whatever I don't know. But Jesper Bratt, you're probably fine with him having a no move clause. I don't think you're moving Jesper Bratt anytime soon. But then you go down the list, it's like Palat. Palat has another 2 years at $6 million. Like, who the hell is taking Palat? Even if you find a suitor that he's willing to go to.
He's been brutal since being in New Jersey. I don't think he's cracked 30 points yet.
They signed him because he did play in the playoffs, but they made the playoffs once, I think, with him on the team.
He's got a 10-team no-trade list.
But then you go down, it's like, and then you go into the detour, Dougie Hamilton, who the rumor was they tried to move Dougie when they wanted to go get Quinn Hughes, but he like nixed the trade, which is his right. Like, you guys gave him that's the thing I always like. I didn't like Marner. I don't have to say it every time, but I didn't like Marner, but people would get on his ass.
Really?
Yeah, I know. People would get on his.
Can we dive into that quick?
No, yeah. Go back to every single pod we've recorded so far. It's all on the YouTube. But yeah. But people go on Marner, and I'm like, for not waiving it. I'm like, well, you guys gave him that contract. You knew he had that right. Yeah, he's having a kid. His wife is like just about to have a child. Like, you knew he wasn't going to waive. So this is on you for not trading him before it kicked in. So Dougie says, no, I'm not moving. And now they're acting like shocked, like, oh my God, we tried. Dude, you gave him the contract. Yep. This isn't a new GM going in there with like, oh my God, my hands were tied behind my back because the last GM did a terrible job here. Fitzgerald made all these moves.
He did it. You could go crazy.
Yeah,
there's one guy who you could move who has no trade protection right now. That's Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes, oh my God, he does have no trade protection.
You know who needs a center?
Your Toronto.
The Leafs?
No,
Minnesota I don't want him. The Wild.
The Wild need a center.
You
think that Quinn Hughes trade there? No, I'm kidding.
It's too bad they gave every last asset they have to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because that could be something.
Yes.
The problem I have with, and then even Jack Hughes too, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'd have to look at his stats in the playoffs again, but that's another guy that gets bullied out of the game pretty often, and we saw at the Four Nations when that game got really physical. He was just nowhere to be seen when with the best of the best. And he's always
What if he
hurt.
was
Like
online
I mean,
with
he is
Kaprizov
always
and
hurt.
Ryan Hartman.
well, I mean that.
Anyways.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the Minnesota possibility, but
Anyways. No, yeah,
But
Jack Hughes is a.
I mean, he had 11 points in 12 games in the playoffs last time he was there, so I feel it's kind of a moot point. I might have made a bad point there, but like it kind of reminds me of the Leafs, where all your best players don't play the style of game that you kind of need in the playoffs, and your team kind of leads by that example almost. And I think they need. I don't know. I think like Seb, you said it, Jacob. I think you said it too. They're just kind of soft, and it doesn't matter how many guys you bring in until you get like a real culture change around the team. Like you could fill your bottom six with guys who don't play physical or who play physical, sorry, and you could get another big guy on the back end, and it's like it still doesn't matter because the top six won't really adapt to that. And when comparing it to the Leafs, like we get on Matthews for not performing in the playoffs, and people can talk as much as they want about him being soft. He's more physical in the playoffs than a lot of people give him credit for. I've always been on that train.
He might not be absolutely laying guys out, but he is more physical than people think he is.
Yeah, but I don't know. And then the other thing I want to ask you guys is like, at what point do the expectations stop being, oh, they're a contender? Because it feels like every single offseason we go in, we do our projections for the conferences, and it's like Jersey should be in the top two or potentially win the Metro. Like when do those expectations start to not be there for you guys?
I mean, it wasn't there for me this year. Frankly, it's the same issue we're talking about right now. Their defense core, I think, looks really good on paper. Hamilton, Hughes, Pesci, Dillon, Siegenthaler, Kovacevic, Nemec. I think that's a good core on paper. But, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, they just there's nothing they can do because they have too much money tied up in the wrong guys. And maybe if Palat could give you 20 goals, it's a different conversation, and you can skill your way into the playoffs. I don't know. There's Stefan Nason has like 10 points this year, which is Paul Cotter's not scoring. What does Dawson Mercer even do anymore? Like, okay, I lied. Dawson Mercer's third on the team in points, which isn't saying much. He has 26 points in 43 games.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's not great.
Oh my God.
He's getting outscored by Oliver Ekman-Larsson right now. So.
Oh my
You know what?
God.
That's not no. That's not even a diss. Not even a diss. OEL's the GOAT.
But yeah, I don't know. I just found it interesting because it feels like, I don't know. I used to be big in on the advanced stats, and to a certain extent, I still am. But it just feels like the Devils are one of those teams where they always project really well, and just ends up being. And Buffalo was that team for a long time, and we're seeing them start to play good hockey again. And I still don't know if that's real because I'll never really believe it until the season's over and the Sabres are getting ready for a playoff series. But I mean, you never really know. The Devils are an interesting case study to me and then they also extended Markstrom for another 2 years after this on a pay rise with $6 million.
Bad.
And I like the Jake Allen signing because, like, although it's long term, like it's like such a low cap, it doesn't really matter. And he's provided good backup minutes to them. But I don't know. There's a lot going on in Jersey, and I thought Keefe was a perfect coach for them, and still nothing's changing at all.
I think the GM needs to go. I think that's
Me too.
That's gotta change.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Moving on. Another team that had high expectations and is shitting themselves constantly. The Winnipeg Jets.
Bad.
Keep going. I think someone's knocking on my door.
Okay. Yeah. The Winnipeg Jets.
This is odd.
Oh.
Yes. The Winnipeg Jets. They have lost 10 straight and currently sit last in the NHL, below Vancouver, who I didn't know that was possible for anybody. But they are last in the NHL with a record of 15, 21, and 5. Just not same thing. Not a lot going right in Winnipeg. And Seb, like, what do you think is the biggest issue right now for this Jets team?
It's really tough to pinpoint because the roster is pretty similar. Obviously, Jonathan Taves wasn't the second line center that I think they were hoping for. I think that was pretty easy.
Sorry, 1 second. why did Kevin Shoveldayoff think Jonathan Taves, who went to India for 2 years and didn't see ice, was going to be a second line center?
I was literally just about to say, like, I think that was pretty easy for any of us to predict. Like, respect to Jonathan Taves for being able to come back and stick it, but I mean that you can't have that as your hopes for a second line center. Like, it's not a serious option.
Just to underscore too, this is
37. Like,
this is from Puck Empire on Instagram. They are 3-19 the last 22 games.
Dude, it's like, and they're still.
I'm 3-19,
decent...
scratching my fucking nuts.
Best bit ever. But I mean, yeah, like, I mean, the top guys are scoring. The depth scoring's just gone. There's nothing. Not a lot of guys in general are scoring right now, and I think part of that's mental. I think part of this was just, I think the Connor Hellebuck injury really just messed up the kind of groove of their season, it feels like. And he hasn't been playing the best either. I think he came back a little too early from that injury. But
I still think they're a mess defensively in front of the guy. I watched some of the goals that he allows. I'm like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think that injury has messed up their season mentally. A lot of this is mental, I think, because, again, you look at the roster, it's not that different from last year. I really
you know what, though?
Just got caught in a rut.
The one thing I'd say is that they lost an integral part of their team in Ehlers, and I know there was complaints about ice time and how he's losing. And they signed Nyquist, Gustav Nyquist, and Jonathan Taves to be a replacement.
Iafallo is the guy who's taken Ehlers' spot in the lineup.
Dude, this is always the issue with Winnipeg, where they just can't keep or attract these like top guys really. That's why it was so insane that Scheifele and Hellebuck stayed. Everybody thought they were gone, and they managed to keep the two, but they can't attract major free agent talent, I feel like, and it's an issue. They gotta. I think Winnipeg has to find a way to get better at being able to supplement these top guys with younger guys and really draft and kind of develop this talent, because
dude, they are arguably the worst team at developing their talent that they pick. Like, they all.
Perfetti has 9 points in 27 games this year.
Cole Perfetti has been the same since he was drafted and started playing games for the Winnipeg Jets.
He might have gotten worse, dude. Last year I thought he broke out. Last year I thought he.
Yeah, he had 50 points in 82 games last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
He did
progressed
get
that
worse.
much. Dude, they had Ville Heinola at like 20 playing games for them. We were like, holy shit, this guy's a steal. Like, he looks good in these
At
games.
18,
And they've just got him caught in this like limbo of
Well, they killed him now. Now he's just not good enough
he's
anymore.
He's nothing now, and it's like, this was a guy that should have been something for you. Like, he
Lambert
showed promise.
Lambert's asking for a trade. Who is another one of their big prospects?
Dude, they gotta get better. They gotta really improve their development and scouting. It's going even further back. Remember Christian Vesalainen?
Yeah.
That guy was disgusting in Finland.
Wow.
Comes over. They do terrible with the guy. It's like they gotta figure this out.
Dude, going even further back, what about Laine? Like, Laine, that guy, and he had good seasons for them, but they couldn't keep him around, and a lot of it was locker room stuff, but it was also a young player in the league trying to. They are awful at keeping their talent. Just developing their talent.
They have to figure out a way to get better, not only at drafting but developing, because you do not have a destination market in this league where people are attracted to your team, and you haven't necessarily. That Winnipeg has iced really good teams. They've made one or two pretty deep pushes since they've re-entered the league, but you don't have the success to bring people in. You don't have the location to bring people in. At a certain point, like, your only option is development and capitalizing on drafting and good development, good scouting, and they haven't really done that. So now you're caught in this limbo where, like, you have your guys who were top picks for you a while ago, and besides that, there's nothing to supplement it, because you don't have the destination for free agents to sign, because nobody wants to go to Winnipeg.
Even after winning a President's Trophy, you couldn't get Ehlers to stick around.
That's the thing, and there was complaints about coaching there, and I think a lot of people. I saw Mike Commodore, who used to play in the NHL, and he was one of the guys who was first on the Babcock is a terrible person thing. and I saw it popped up on my YouTube today that he said that Scott Arniel is Babcock level in terms of a person. And listen, at the end of the day, it's one guy's opinion. So I don't know. Maybe he just had a bad experience, and I mean that Babcock is a pretty brutal guy. We've heard all the stories now.
I thought Arniel was like a solid.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know. Maybe it is a coaching thing, but he was there last year and they still won the President's Trophy, and maybe he has a shelf life. But I honestly think it comes a lot down to roster construction, and cause they struggled with the Blues last year in the playoffs. And listen, everyone's gonna laugh. Leaf fans talking about playoff struggles and whatever. Right? We're not talking about the Leafs, but it's like the St. Louis doesn't look like a good team this year at all. Like, they might have just backdoored their way into the playoffs last year. And if you remember the West, like that was not like no one wanted that final Western Conference spot. It was like everyone losing their whole. St. Louis backed their way into the playoff spot. Yeah, and it came down to the wire, and then they ended up getting. Who did they lose to in the second round? Was it Minnesota? No, it wasn't Minnesota. It was it Dallas? No. Who did they lose to in the second round? Yeah,
It was Dallas.
right. Sorry, it was Dallas, and they got. Yeah, they just got bullied against Dallas. Like, they weren't even in that series. So I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe it was just one of those series or seasons where Hellebuyck goes and wins a Hart, goes and wins a Vezina, and like you just kind of ride the back of that. And they were never really that great. But I think Shovel Dayoff has a lot. Shovel Dayoff has a lot to do with this. Like, you lose dealers, and your response is, "Hey, let's go sign a guy." And Jonathan Toews for too much money in a role that he should be putting. No, he never asked for a second line center role. He signed to Winnipeg because he's from Winnipeg. Like, I looked at Jonathan Toews in the summer, and I didn't really want him as a Leafs 4C. Like, why did they want him as the Jets second line center? It's like,
I think Shovel Dayoff he's been there forever too. It might be time to make a change there.
I'm pretty sure since the start he's been there.
It might be.
I don't think he's a bad GM. I just think like.
I don't think he's a good GM.
I think time's just run its course. Like,
you can only have one guy in that job for so long.
Yeah,
that's a problem with every Canadian market too. That's another conversation for another day. Where it's just like it's so weird for markets that are called so high pressure, how long you can maintain a job in these markets, and it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think let's move on. Keep it moving here. It's been a long pod.
Could we even skip the signings because we are?
I wasn't going to talk about those two.
Can I just do this really quick?
Hold on, let me talk about the Winter Classic.
Yeah,
and then you can open your pack. Okay.
Yes,
so it was announced today that the Utah Mammoth are hosting their first Winter Classic in 2027 at the Utah University Football Stadium. I am personally really excited that it's going back to a cold market with potential snow. Yeah. I mean, all my prompt questions were: do you guys care? Did you guys care for the Winter Classic this year?
No.
Like the one held in Florida? No.
Fucking stupid.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have synthetic snow there. What are we doing? What if they just did it in New York instead? I'm all for outdoor games in Florida, just not the Winter Classic.
Okay, and that's what I was about to ask.
Stadium series.
Okay, thank you. Because I said, should warm climates host outdoor games? And I think you guys just answered it. I thought you said yes.
Warm climates host outdoor games?
Yeah, like the stadium series is an outdoor game.
Stadium series, sure, but Winter Classic, fuck no.
No, yeah, okay. I think we're all on the same page.
There was a lot of bad publicity specifically surrounding this one too. With I don't know why the NHL put out photos of the ice being built with the roof closed. That was terrible. There was a Winter Classic in Texas a couple years ago that I actually think went well. It was
There's a funny clip of Corey Perry walking down the tunnel.
That's the only thing I remember. I watched that whole game. That's the only thing I remember. That was a great moment from that. But they're doing another one, and I think it was a huge missed opportunity that they didn't have Tampa and Florida play each other in a stadium series, and have Boston and New York do a Winter Classic. But
oh my god, dude!
That would have been fun.
Oh my god!
Can we get the Leafs back in a Winter Classic?
I know,
dude.
I was thinking that.
Can't we get Toronto and Montreal at Rogers Center
in a Winter Classic?
The problem is with the Rogers Center is that the dome doesn't close or doesn't open or close when it's too cold. So we legitimately couldn't do it at the Rogers Center.
If it snows, there's nothing they can do about it. So
yeah, and you can't do it. No. Well, the problem is with BMO now is close for construction because of the World Cup coming. But Jacob, I really loved your idea though. I loved your idea with what you just said.
Sorry, do it at Rogers Stadium at Townsview.
Rogers Stadium.
Oh, Rogers Stadium.
Bring Coldplay back.
Halftime show.
Yeah.
No,
But
no camera, no press boxes.
Yeah. I love the idea though, Jacob, that you just said where you flip the two outdoor games. Like, why didn't you, or not flipped? Is Boston in outdoor games? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are. They're in the Stadium Series, right? Yeah. They should have just flipped Boston and New York would have been a game I love to watch. I love the two original 6 matchups, and then the Florida and Tampa one. It's like,
It's
yeah,
so easy.
I don't get it.
Winter Classic is almost always an old rivalry too. Like,
yeah, I want to watch the original 6 teams. If they just did reruns of original 6 teams with different matchups for like another 10 years, I'd love to watch it because they're all cold markets. Like, it's just, it takes away from it. The part of the Winter Classic is having those conditions, having it where there's snow. And listen, sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate, snow's not going to happen, but just knowing it's freezing outside, you see these guys in the balaclavas and like you see their breath into the air because it's freezing outside. It's part of it. It's the toots on the helmets. It's part of it, man. And it's just it's really disappointing.
Winter Classic.
Winter Classic.
I also, this is not important, but I just want to say I hate how they're doing this whole modern design with the Winter Classic jerseys. It's a Winter Classic, man. Like, why was the Panthers jersey, like, the concept was there. It was just so fucking minimalist. So lame. Like, it looked like something I drew as a jersey concept when I was 10 years old. Like, they really fucked that up.
Another thing to hate about the Florida Panthers franchise.
Indeed.
Well, yeah.
Open
I
your
thought that we
packs
needed
in.
more. Yeah, let's open the pack.
All right.
This will be great for a clip on social media.
Yes.
Pack watch.
Okay, just for clip purposes, 1990 score pack. I'm like pretty sure this is dead stock, like from the 90s. These aren't reprints. My dad and I have been on a kick recently of just opening these old packs. So let's see what we get. I've pulled a couple good ones. We bought a whole box of them. I've got a couple Broders because he was a rookie here. Okay, so starting off, Patrick Waugh. Not bad. Nice. Little Patrick Waugh base. Interesting. Chris Chelios base. Him on the Habs.
With the Habs? Okay, yeah, cool.
On the Habs, yeah. He was already 35 at this point. Continued to play for 85 years.
Yeah.
Joe Nieuwendyk on the Flames.
Okay.
That's a Leaf legend right there, isn't it?
I was just about to say that.
Okay, so one thing I really like about this set is they have these random prospect cards of, I guess, guys that were like top prospects back then. And 90% of them are absolute fucking nobodies that you've never heard of in your life. Who the fuck is Jimmy Waite? Who
Chicago.
is this guy?
You don't know about Jimmy Waite?
Dude,
Yeah,
who
what
is
a
this
casual.
Who is that? Another
Goalie corner Jimmy Waite.
Bruce Hoffert. Who are you?
I looked up Jimmy. Oh, never mind. Okay. This isn't interesting.
We got a couple cool cards here. We got a Brad May draft choice card.
Leaf.
Okay.
Not bad. I've pulled a couple of those.
Punched Ty Domi's face in a couple times.
And a Mike Ritchie.
Okay.
You know what? I had a high school
Not
teacher
terrible.
named Mike Ritchie. Same spelling.
What the fuck?
Nice,
Yeah.
man. This is
Stefan Beauregard. I'll go through.
this is riveting.
I don't think there's much else in this pack.
Who's that?
That guy, Wendell Young,
Wendell Clark.
Rick Natras.
Leaf legend.
Yeah, I was gonna say former Leaf. Darren.
He was in the
Pupa.
Gilmore trade.
Darren Pupa.
Hey.
Mhm.
All-time
Matthew
name.
Schneider. Another
Okay.
Leaf legend, Mike Foligno.
Right,
Okay.
scored against Detroit. No, that was Borjesti. Never mind.
Mike Foligno.
No, wait, he did score against Detroit, I think.
Bob Rouse, and then Ron Sutter. And
Nice.
That's our pack, baby.
Good stuff, man.
There's a whole lot of
I've
nothing.
had that pack sitting on my desk waiting for our next podcast, and we got
I was really hoping we were gonna get something cool.
But
Frick
all.
Yeah,
Frick all,
that is
man.
going on socials though.
Yes,
That is going on socials. Okay.
No.
All right.
Why not?
We-
That was fun.
We have been
Waite was
talking.
drafted 8th overall, by the way.
Wow.
in
He was drafted 8th.
Yeah.
What draft?
year?
1987.
Okay.
You're lying. I don't believe you.
Okay, why would I
Okay.
lie about that?
Yeah, there's no reason for him to lie about
You
that.
came
But
up with that.
we're all done. We're gonna wrap. Okay. We've been talking for almost 2 hours and we still miss stuff. And
Jimmy Waite was in
we
the
just
DL.
enough. No more Jimmy Waite. We're
DN
good.
in the
We're good.
DL,
We're
bro, I
good.
can't lie.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we've been talking for over 2 hours and we still miss stuff. There's just been a lot going on in the NHL over the break, and hopefully we're able to record in fairly soon. Enough.
Dude, Jimmy Waite has been the Chicago Blackhawks goalie coach for like 11 years.
That is actually interesting.
That's kind of cool.
That is actually interesting. Okay.
He's been the goalie coach
That
for
is kind of
11
interesting. Okay.
years for the
You
Blackhawks.
waited
We got
till-
something out of
till I
this.
said it was
This is
interesting to
nice.
decide if it was. I appreciate that.
He was
No, that's not true. Ethan, I respect you that much. No, thank you.
No.
He won a championship in the IHL.
What is
Oh my
actually
God, we don't
interesting
care,
is
dude.
Joe Sakic was drafted 15th overall that year.
dead ass. Imagine
No, I'm
Joe
lying
Sakic
again.
on the Blackhawks, dude.
Dude, you have an 8 a.m. class tomorrow. We're talking about the 1987 drafts. Enough, okay? Hope you guys enjoyed. We went over 2 hours and we still missed some stuff. Hopefully we get a pod out relatively soon so we could catch everything again. But I really enjoyed recording. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Look out for our socials and everything. And yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Peace out.